What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. It is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you guys know what that means. The new thing, new tradition around the block. We're going live every Tuesday this exact time for the rest of eternity, at least until I'm off this earth. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I am your host, Joey Petersen. This is Ravens Rundown presented to you by Chat Sports. We got a loaded show for every single one of you that are already here, already in the chat, already tuning in. First segment, we're going to go into a little bit of Cam Newton and what he had to say about Lamar Jackson, sounding off the two of the best dual threat mobile quarterbacks in this game's history. Cam had a lot of things to say about our QB1. Then, segment 2, going to give you a little preview of Ravens-Giants, how the Baltimore Ravens can destroy the New York Giants this upcoming Sunday. We're going to go into my 4 keys to victory. And then the final segment, the best segment, everybody's favorite segment every single week, is the Ravens Rundown Live Mailbag. You guys got questions. I've got answers. You can ask them for me right down there in the chat. And if you want a chance to get on the show, use hashtag Ravens in the chat down below with your question. Or you could super chat. That guarantees your question getting on today's show. But if you've got a question for me, just ask it. Use hashtag Ravens all in the same sentence. Then we could get it into our database. We can get you up on screen. And I'll be able to answer your questions. So a little bit of example. Hashtag Ravens. Is Lamar Jackson the best quarterback in the NFL? And then I'd be able to populate it. We'd be able to talk about it on the show. So you got to use hashtag Ravens to get on the show. But I see there's about 20 people hanging out with me. Got 10 likes already. Y'all let me know where you are watching from. Let's go. Tune in down in the chat. We got Jordan Clements in there saying, let's go Ravens. We got Michael saying, Drew Lock, more like Drew Suck. Could not agree more, Michael. We'll talk a little bit more Drew Lock as today's show goes on. Michael said, hashtag Ravens. Do you think the Ravens will win the Super Bowl? Great question, Michael. We'll get to it at the end of today's show, or at least in segment 3. Y'all let me know where you're checking in from. You know where I'm checking in from. Live from Studio E, downtown Dallas, Texas. It's a crisp 46 degrees outside. So nice little December day here in Dallas. Don't get a lot of those, so you got to take advantage as they come. 21st floor, self-producing today, so it's just me and y'all. Love that you're joining me. We got Phyllis in here saying, Ravens fan for life. Lamar is a great QB, thumbs up. Phyllis, we could not agree more. You have entered a very pro Lamar Jackson live stream, okay? I'm just going to shoot it to you straight. We love the guy right here on Ravens Rundown. John Petersen, my dad, checking in from Duluth, Georgia. What's up, Dad? So glad you're checking in, hanging out with us. Alex Anderson is checking in from Baltimore itself. Good morning, Baltimore. You know, as they say it. Jordan Clements, Raleigh, North Carolina. Brother-in-law Jordan Clements in the chat. Alex Anderson, Perry Hale, Maryland. Y'all keep letting me know where you're checking in from. Also, make sure while you're in here to like the stream, click that thumbs up button. It's free. It supports me, supports this show. It supports the Ravens. And it tells YouTube, hey, people like this. They're going to put it in more people's algorithms. It'll pop up on more people's suggestions. We'll have more people hanging out with us on the live stream. So if you haven't liked it already, go ahead and like the stream. Let me know you're here, and I can give you a shout out if you type me in the chat. Phyllis with a great question. Who should win MVP? Phyllis, I'll get into that later in today's show. Phyllis, she's checking in from Indiana. What's up from Grottos, Virginia? Michael said, finally, it's mild in the winter, Bel Air, Maryland. Michael, what's mild to you? Because like mild for Dallas is like still 65 or 70 in December, but mild for you probably looks a little different. James saying Ravens will smash. I'm from Kentucky, but Baltimore born and raised, Flock Nation. James, happy you're checking in with us. Happy you're checking out the stream. Yaml, Puerto Rico, not Pittsburgh. What's up, Yaml? So glad you're hanging out with us today. Well, without further ado, guys, make sure, again, you guys like the video, like the stream. Make sure to tell YouTube that we got people in here. We got people rocking with us. Here's the lineup for today's show. Cam Newton goes off on Lamar. We're going to talk about what he had to say, talk about what Lamar might have to do over the last 4 weeks of the season to kind of get some things straight with his mobility. Okay, I'll give you a little hint on it. And then we're going Ravens-Giants preview, how the Baltimore Ravens can destroy the Giants, what they need to do to destroy the Giants. And then we're going to wrap up with a Ravens Rundown live mailbag. We got more people in here, 26 in it total. I'm going to go ahead and just get set up for this first segment. Y'all keep letting me know you're here. And let's see. We got Jacko in here saying, no, Michael. They won't make the Super Bowl or even the title game. They can't possibly get all-important 3 seed because only via the 3 can they avoid KC. They can still get the 3, Jacko. It is possible. You said they can't possibly get it. That is incorrect. It is very possible. They just have to beat the Giants this weekend. If the Steelers lose to the Eagles this weekend, then all you got to do is beat the Steelers. You're tied for the division. So, thanks for weighing in. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, for the Ravens, you're incorrect. All righty. Without further ado, let's talk a little bit of Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Petersen, and Cam Newton had some interesting words for Lamar Jackson, okay? Usually we're talking about guys like, what's his name? Nick something or Colin Cowherd or Dan Orlovsky. Nick Wright, that's it. But today we're talking about somebody different, okay? It's Cam Newton. He had some interesting things to say about Lamar Jackson. I won't waste any of your time. Let's get straight into it. But before we do any of that, I got to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. Giants Now host Marshall Green challenged me to a sub battle. We're taking on the Giants on Sunday. We're taking them on today and throughout the rest of the week right here on YouTube. They currently are in the lead, beating us in this sub battle 32-28, okay? But we're not far behind them, right? That lead is very obtainable. So if you haven't already, and if you're looking for a place to get all the Ravens content you can need right here on YouTube, you found it, so make sure to hit that sub button. All righty, if you've seen this clip before, you know what we're about to talk about. Cam Newton on his podcast, 4th and 1, had some things to say about Lamar Jackson. It feels like kind of every single player that's ever played in the NFL and ever will play in the NFL is just going to end up having a podcast. But I guess Cam Newton, even though he dresses like he's a Dr. Seuss character, has some pretty entertaining takes and says some pretty entertaining things. This is what he had to say about our guy, Lamar Jackson. He is the greatest dual-threat quarterback to play this game, bar none. You can do things on the football field that nobody has ever been able to do. That is your skill, not your deficit. Lamar, bro, be you and do you. Because even though you know that you have to get all the other people involved in the game, bro, you've got something that a lot of people wish that they had. The uncanny ability to get the F home at any time. You're the only person in history that can be successful just dropping back and being blind. You know, usually when we have these kind of videos and talk about what people are saying about Lamar Jackson, about this team, I usually disagree, right? But with this take, honestly, guys, like, I could not agree more with anything in the history of the world that Cam Newton could have said. Because he hit this right on the head, right? And we've all seen it. We've even talked about it in the past couple weeks, but Lamar, for some reason, has been almost holding himself back, right? He hasn't been trying to be as mobile. He's been forcing throws when we've seen other seasons. He just tucks it, runs it, gets 10, and moves on. But it seems a little bit different this year. And I love Cam prodding him, encouragingly, saying, dude, you're the best to ever do it. You have the uncanny ability to get the F home. You could drop back blind. I agree with every single thing that Cam Newton just said. And on the rest of the show, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive. We're going to look into Lamar's running tendencies this year, maybe compared to past years. Before we get into that, you've heard my take on this already. Okay, I agree with Cam Newton, but do you agree with Cam Newton? Okay, let me know in the comment section down below. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break in just a little bit, so if that time comes, take advantage of it, make it go by a little bit faster. Get down in the comment section and give me a Y or an N. You know, it's not just Cam, it's not just me, but it's also Lamar's mom. I know you guys have seen this before. This happened a couple weeks ago after, I guess a week and a half ago, after the Sunday loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. This tweet from Karita Parks saying, when Lamar Jackson was asked if he missed opportunities to run, he said, yes, my mama just cussed me out about that. She told him there are wide open lanes and he should have took off. Well, Lamar, your mom is dead on, okay? And we're going to look at two pictures that we looked at even before the Philadelphia Eagles game. Because when we were going into that game, we said we need Lamar to be mobile more. We knew it going into it, and then things, unfortunately, didn't really change. Because we saw it in the game against Pittsburgh, and we saw it in the game even prior to that against the Los Angeles Chargers. But let's talk the Pittsburgh game, okay? Here's a great example. Right? Look at all that green grass right in front of them. That green circle right there. Everybody else is preoccupied on the Steelers, except that safety right on that right hash mark about the 40-yard line. Lamar forces his throw to the sideline to Zay Flowers instead of just tucking it and running it. And even if he's not going to go on that red arrow, I guess this way, he has all that green grass. All of it, if he just runs straight. But heck, he can cut it better than anybody. Why doesn't he just cut it, go out to the right? I'm taking Lamar one-on-one versus any safety in the league. And then we saw the same thing kind of unfold against Los Angeles. Look at all that green space right here. I didn't circle him, but he's right here, right where my fingers are. And look at all that green, right in front of him. That's like 15 yards of space. Now, I do want him to be smart about it, right? I don't want him being stupid and trying to take hits and ending up fumbling the ball, costing this football team, and also him, possibly getting hurt as well. But you got to take the run options when they give them to you. You're Lamar freaking Jackson. And instead, you're forcing throws all the way downfield to the end zone when you got 15 yards in front of you where there's not a blue jersey in sight. And if you look at just the last 5 games, you can see this has been a problem, okay? 3 carries, 4 yards against Denver. 7 carries, 33 yards against Cincinnati. 4 carries, 46 yards against Pittsburgh. 8 carries, 15 yards against Los Angeles. 8 carries, 79 yards against Philadelphia. Guys, he's just not tucking it and running it. And I don't know why, but it just looks a little bit different this year. And I think every single one of you guys agree with me on that fact, right? He went 5 straight games where 4 of them, he didn't even get over 50 yards running. You're Lamar Jackson, okay? I get it. You got a lot of other people to get involved, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we need to see these numbers go up. You need to see every single one of those numbers go up. Alrighty, if you want a chance to go see Lamar Jackson play for the Baltimore Ravens, I suggest you use our friends and the sponsor of today's video, our friends over at Game Time. Game Time is a place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. It's the only place I go for any college football or NFL games. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks, and it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. Take the guesswork out of Game Time with buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Guys, it's the only place I go to buy any of my tickets. I love the views from your seats. I love the fact that with code CHATSPORTS, you can get $20 off. I love the fact that there's just no surprise fees. You're not going to get your cart full, get all excited, and get hit with, bam, $500 of a random fee you don't even know where it goes to. That's why I use Game Time. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So if you look at these 2 seasons, okay, and I didn't just take all of 2019. I took 2019 specifically when he was playing, the first 13 games he had played. And compared to 2024, it's a pretty striking difference, okay? 151 carries, that's 40 more. 1,017 yards. That's almost 400 more. He's averaging almost a yard more a carry. He has 4 more touchdowns and 101 more yards over expected than he does this year. Okay? And so it's obvious. And I'm not saying I want Lamar to tuck it and run it as much as he did in 2019. I don't think a quarterback's ever going to replicate that season. But I just need to see it a little bit more than we're seeing it so far in 2024. Okay, I'm going to make a statement. Lamar using his legs gives the Ravens the best chance to win the football game. Do you agree or do you disagree? Okay, if you agree, type A in the comment section down below. And if you disagree, go ahead. Give me a D down there. For Ravens analysis, latest news, rumors, breaking news, anything you could want for your Baltimore Ravens, you can find it right here on Ravens Rundown. And the best part about all of it, guys, is it is free. I'm frugal. I like a good deal, not a better deal than following Ravens Rundown, subbing, and staying by the channel. Okay, I get it, right? He's got a lot of people to share the wealth with, okay? Derrick Henry. He had 240 carries so far this year, 1,400 yards. Zay Flowers, 60 receptions, 863 yards. Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, both over 490 yards. Justice Hill, 43 carries, 191 yards. I know there are only so many yards that can go around in a football game on a football team. I know he's got a lot of really good, talented players around him. But I think that we can all agree that this team plays better when he's using his legs and when he's playing free and easy. When he's playing like a kid who's just playing backyard football, right? Because that's the kind of player that Lamar Jackson is. That's what makes him so great, is he has the ability to do that. Not everybody has the ability to do that. And when he's taking away that ability himself, not even this game plan, not even this team, but himself, he's harnessing that for some reason. He's just hurting this team. He's just hurting himself, okay? He's had in his career 14 100-yard rush games. You want to know the Ravens' record in that? It's 11-3, okay? So this team, factually, when he runs the football more and when he does stuff more with his legs, this team is just flat out better, okay? So Lamar, if you're listening, and I have it on pretty bad authority, you are an avid viewer of this channel. If you're listening right now, I know you got to share the rock. I know you got guys to hand it off to, guys to throw it to. But don't forget to tuck it, run it, keep it yourself, because that's what makes you great, okay? Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This has been Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Petersen. If you like today's video, if you like today's channel, do me a favor on your way out and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, everybody, one segment down. We got 2 more to go. That was a little bit on Lamar Jackson and what Cam Newton had to say about him. Let's get back in the comment section, see what you guys got to say about Cam, about Lamar. See if you guys agree, okay? We got a lot of people agreeing. My dad agrees. Phyllis agrees. Buddy Bear says, sorry, I'm rooting for the Giants rest of the year. Buddy Bear, I totally get it, guys. Buddy Bear is a Raiders fan. He wants the Raiders to lock up the top pick. And so I get it, man. Not going to hold it against you. 619 Cali Factor is back. 619. I haven't seen you since like the preseason. Where you been, man? So happy you're hanging out with us. Glad to see you back in the live show nonetheless. James says you're awesome. Thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it, James, of course. James also saying, don't lose faith. I love it. I'm not counting out Cincy to beat Pittsburgh week 18. I agree, Emma. I'm not either, man. Phil is saying Cam Newton's always hating. He's not in the NFL for a reason. I love that, Phyllis. Gabe thinks, yes, he does agree with him. Peter's saying, Joey. Ravens King says, Michael Pierce playing this week. Ravens King, he is practicing this week, okay? He's practicing. It is yet to, they're yet to say anything about if he's playing or not. Obviously, they're going to hold that a little bit tight to the vest, if you will. But he is practicing. Great question, though. All righty. Let me get a little bit of sip of water. A little bit of sip of 619 says, I've been around, bro. I haven't seen you in any of our watch parties. I don't want to say any of them, but in a while. But happy you're here, man. Deshaun saying, what's up, Ravens flock? Love the videos. Thanks so much, Deshaun. Took a sip of water. Now I'm going to take a sip of this nameless beverage that does not pay to be on this show, so no free advertising for them. But if you want to sponsor the show, I have one of these puppies just about every day. Alrighty. Yamel saying, wrong topic, but go Longhorns, Joey. Heartbroken from the SEC championship. Yeah. Physical game, man. Georgia's just a different breed. Georgia, even on their worst of seasons, they're one of the best teams in the National Football League. But Longhorns got a good first-round draw with Clemson. My Vols will be headed to Ohio State, taking on the Buckeyes. Won't be able to go that one because Ravens play the same day. So I'll be here working, going live for you guys. But we'll see if they can pull out the dub. Okay, without further ado, we got another segment to get into. Let's preview Sunday's Week 15 matchup coming off the bye week against the New York Giants. What is going on, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in to the Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Petersen, and on today's show, we are breaking down tomorrow's matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. It is a massive spread right now of 15 points. The Ravens are favored. Total over under is 43.5. I think I saw somewhere on Twitter like this is the biggest home underdog spread since like 1966. Safe to say that people in Vegas think that Baltimore's going to win this one going away. But hey, you'll hear what I think if you stick around, listen to my keys to victory, and you'll get my score prediction at the very end. I don't want us to jinx anything, okay? If you want the Ravens to win, if you want them to beat New York, do me a favor, like the video, okay? I'm a superstitious guy. I don't want anything to be jinxed, so please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Let's start with a little bit of an injury update. This one coming from Giants cornerback Trey Hawkins III. He had to leave Week 14 game against the Saints with a fractured spine, okay? Really scary injury for him. He also is one of their better players, one of their better cornerbacks, one of their better defenders. And so, obviously, praying for him, praying for his family. Hopefully, it's going to be a speedy recovery. But if you're just talking matchups, Baltimore has a little bit of an advantage out on the outside with Trey Hawkins not being in the game. Alrighty, it's time for everybody's favorite time of the week. It's Joey's Keys to Victory. A lot of E's in there. This one, we're starting off with a little kiss, okay? I'm not telling you to kiss Derrick Henry. I'm talking keep it simple, stupid. And how can the Ravens keep it simple, stupid? They can run the ball, okay? It's pretty easy. Because this Giants defense they're going against is, to say it nicely, pretty atrocious at stopping the run. Okay, it's movable versus unstoppable. A lot of times you hear it's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. This one's just an unstoppable force against a movable one, okay? Because this Giants defense ranks 29th in the NFL in yards per game. Yards per carry, they're giving up 4.9. That's 30th. Of 10-plus yards, rushes of 10-plus yards they've given up, they are 30th in the NFL. They've given up 54. 1.73 yards before contact per attempt. That's 26th. And 3.2 yards after contact per attempt. And if you just looked at Derrick Henry, I'm not even taking the Ravens rushing offense as a whole because it would be even a bigger difference. But if you just take Derrick Henry compared with this Ravens defense, I mean, it's insane. The splits are so different because he averaged 108.2 yards per carry, or yards a game. Second in the NFL. 5.9 per carry. Second in the NFL. He's got 29 rushes of 10 or more yards. Third in the NFL. His yards before contact per attempt, 2.5. And his yards after contact per attempt, 3.9. Both of those are first and third in the NFL, okay? And if you look more specifically at his actual splits of how he does in wins and how he does in losses, it's pretty apparent that when this team wants to win a football game, and a lot of times when this team does win football games, it's when they're giving him the ball, okay? Because carries and wins, he averages 20.75. And carries and losses, he averages under 15 with 14.8. And there is yet to be a game in this Baltimore Ravens 2024 NFL season that you've lost a game when he gets 20 or more carries. You've won a whole ton of them, lost none of them. So feed him the rock. Please, please, please feed him the rock. You're going against one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL in both pass coverage and rush defense. So jam it down your throat. Do what you do best. This is your identity. This is how you win football games, and it shouldn't be any different tomorrow on Sunday. So I got a question for you guys. Let's play Vegas a little bit. If I set the over-under at 110 yards for Derrick Henry, would you hit the over? Would you hit the under? You let me know in the comment section down below. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break in just a little bit. To take advantage of that time, go down to the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me an O or a U. Number 2, I know you got to protect Lamar, okay? There is no ifs, ands, or buts about this one because quarterback pressure rate has gone up over the last 5 games, okay? Against the Eagles, it wasn't bad, 25%. But then if you look at the 4 before that, all 4 of them above 30, 2 of them above 35% of dropbacks, Lamar was getting pressured. Chargers 33.3, Steelers 42.9%, Bengals 36.1, Broncos 30.4. And this is very different from how you started this season, okay? Because you started it off pretty hot. Chiefs game, 23.2. Raiders, 28.2. Cowboys, 29.4. Bills, 23.8. Game 5, a little bit worse, 40.4. But 80% of your first 5 games, the opposing rush defense was held under 30% quarterback pressure rate. 80% of the first 5 games, okay? So you have to figure out how to replicate that again. Because this defense is going to need that. This offense is going to need that again. We all know we're better when Lamar gets a little bit more time in the pocket, whether that's to find the open receiver or to create plays with his legs. So this is going to be apparent. And a big reason why it's so huge in this one is because you're facing a pass rush that's really good. Okay? For all the things that this team does bad, and believe me, there's a lot of things this team does bad. Getting to the passer is not one of them. They average 2.68, giving opposing quarterbacks 2.68 seconds when it comes to time to throw. Second best in the NFL. Got 38 sacks on the year. 6th best in the NFL. Time to pressure is 2.64 seconds. 9th best in the NFL. So every single one of those statistics is top 10. You're facing a really good pass rush. You have a really great commodity when he is given time, when he's given time to cook with his legs or with his arm in Lamar Jackson. So give him that time. Protect him. Keep that jersey clean. I got 2 more keys to go over, but before we get into any of that, I got to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and there's our friends over at Prize Picks. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard also for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus because it's guaranteed. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Prize Picks is the best way to win more money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Don't have a ton of college football going on this weekend, and so because it's the last regular season game, and I love the Army-Navy game, I decided to add that one in there. Bryson Daly with more than 61.5 passing yards. And I know we hate Patrick Mahomes, but Prize Picks is giving you a little bit of a boost there. Only half a passing yard he needs. So I went ahead and took the more on that as well. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. If you guys are looking for something to do tomorrow, I suggest you come join us right here on Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. We will be live starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. This is the thumbnail. So when you see that video, Click on it. We'll be live for the game, giving you play-by-play, highlights, anything you can want for the entirety of it. Come join us. They're a blast. I promise you that. All righty. Third key to victory. I think you got to put Drew Lock under pressure. And why is that? Well, he just played a Saints team that's got a pretty decent defensive front. He was under pressure for pretty much the entirety of the game, and he sucked. 42.9% completion percentage, 227 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Guys, he completed 42.9% of his passes. That is, in a word, really bad. I guess that's 2 words. The Saints are marching in as well, okay? 2 sacks on the day against Locke, 26 QB pressures. They had a quarterback pressure rate of 46.4%. So we know it's doable. Now will this team be able to do it, okay? And that's the question. That's what you got to look at. 41 sacks on the year, that's good enough for 3rd in the NFL, right? They're really good at getting the quarterback to the ground. 174 quarterback pressures. That's good too, 8th in the NFL. But it's that quarterback pressure rate that I want to look at. 31.6, because they're bottom 10 in the NFL in that, okay? They're good at bringing them down, but they don't pressure them at an elite rate. And I want to see that change. Because against Philadelphia, it was horrific. And I think it's a big reason why you ended up losing that football game. Because you only had 4 quarterback pressures at the end of the day. And I get it. The Eagles have a really good offensive line. Lane Johnson right there at right tackle, he's fantastic. They got a lot of really good guys in the interior as well. But still, 4 quarterback pressures in the entire day? Are you kidding me? That needs to change. And if it changes against a guy like Drew Lock, you're going to be able to get takeaways. They're not going to be able to score points, and you're probably going to win the football game. A 19.0 quarterback pressure rate. That is the 28th worst of 416 games in the NFL. 28th worst. I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. Jalen Hurts was able to do a lot against you. Just sit back there, pick you apart. That needs to change against Drew Lock. My last and final key to victory, this one's simple, guys, and I feel like I go over it every single time you're playing an opponent that I know you're better in. You just can't hurt yourself. You can't make stupid mistakes. And what are stupid mistakes? They're penalties, they're missed field goals. And what have the Baltimore Ravens done a ton this year is penalties and missed field goals, okay? The penalties and losses, it's pretty self-explanatory. 7 for 64 against the Chiefs, 11 for 109 against the Raiders, 7 for 53 against the Browns, 12 for 80 against the Steelers, and then against the Eagles, honestly, you were pretty disciplined. Only 4 penalties, 20 yards. You love to see that. But it's those top 4, especially number 2 and number 4 that I'm looking at, okay? And honestly, let's look at just 2 or 3. You are light years ahead of both of those teams. Yet you had 18 penalties and 162 penalty yards in those 2 games combined, okay? So that needs to change. Justin Tucker also needs to start making kicks because every single game that this team has lost so far in this 2024 NFL season, you guessed it, he's missed a kick at one point or another. 2 for 3 against the Chiefs, 3 for 4 against the Raiders, 1 for 2 against the Browns, and then these last 2 ones were the worst of them all. 1 for 3 against the Steelers, and 2 for 4 against the Eagles. 2 missed kicks in both of those games, okay? Those 2 games are very different football games if Justin Tucker makes those kicks. So you can't hurt yourself because you're playing a team who is 2-10. And at this point of the season, they're not really even playing for success. They're playing for a top draft pick. They don't want to win football games. Giants now host Marshall Green. Cheered the loudest I've heard him cheer this whole season when they lost last week against the Saints. They don't want to win. But the reason that teams that are 2-10 sometimes knock off teams that are really good is because those teams hurt themselves, okay? So what's my score prediction? I've talked about the game, talked about it a ton. What do I think is going to happen? I think this team wins. I think they win big. 34-10 is my prediction. I think it's a splattering. I do. I just think you're better than this team at the end of the day. I think it's the end of the season. They don't have much to play for, and so I think you win this game going away. Go ahead, predict it for me in the comment section down below. What is your score prediction? Giants, Ravens, let me know. And again, I'm going to bring this up because if you missed it the first time, I'm a superstitious guy. You can't jinx it. So if you haven't already, make sure to like today's video. Alrighty. 2 segments down. 1 segment to go. 30 people in the chat hanging out with us. 29 likes. Let's get back in the chat and see what I've missed. We got Deshaun. Oh, we already heard Deshaun's. Phyllis saying, I think the Ravens defense needs to get better. Okay, Phyllis, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Georgia ain't winning it all, or Georgia is winning it all, says Ravens King. Okay. James Parker says, pants down, Berg ain't beating Eagles, and we win in the last 4 games. Lamar's hungry, so is Henry. The Kings of the Run going to show them out the last 4 games. I love it. Deshaun says, who do you think the Ravens going to re-side back? Give me 3 players. I don't know what you mean, Deshaun. Let me know again. Yamel saying 2017 overtime Ravens win. Golly, Yamel. I hope that game doesn't go in overtime. If that game goes into overtime, that would be incredibly depressing, as you are much, much, much better than that Giants team. All righty. It is your turn to get on today's show. If you got a question for me, use hashtag Ravens in the chat. Ask your question. You got to put hashtag Ravens and the question all in the same little thing, or else I won't be able to see them, okay? We got some pretty good questions so far. One from Michael. We got a couple from Phyllis. Keep getting those questions in, okay? Keep asking me. We'll keep getting, oh, yeah, almost said kidding. I need about 3 more. I need 3 more questions. Okay? Give me 3 more questions, then we can get started with today's show. If you want your chance to not only get your questions answered, but get yourself featured on this live show, then go ahead, get the questions in down below. Get the questions in down below. Papa Shock. What's up, Papa? Welcome back. Saying, I got the Ravens 37-17. Big game for Lamar. Yeah, I think it's going to be a big one for him as well. I really do. Need a little more questions. They don't even all have to be about the Ravens. They can be about college football, upcoming playoff, about any other team in the NFL. They can be about anything. Let me know down there. Just need a couple more of those, and then we'll get started on today's show. So don't be shy. Get in the comment section with your questions. Great example of one is hashtag Joey, not hashtag Joey. Don't say hashtag Joey. Say hashtag Ravens. Hashtag Ravens. What's the latest with Deontay Johnson? That's a good question. Okay? But you got to say hashtag Ravens and the question all in the same comment. Okay? Or else I will not be able to pull it up on the feed. And you won't be able to ask it. There we go. Papa Shock. Hashtag Ravens. Who is the most impressive CFP team? Great question. Would love to answer. Just need 2 more. 18 people watching. We just need 2 more questions. I know y'all got more questions than that. If anybody wants to know about Deontay Johnson, you can ask me that. I'll be happy to answer that one. Y'all let me know in the comment section down below. Hope, Bay Laver, what's up, Bay Laver? Hashtag Ravens, will the Ravens be able to make a deep playoff run? Great question, Bay Laver. Excited to answer that one. If you want to guarantee your question gets a spot on the video or on the stream, you can super chat also to ask it. That would make sure yours 100% gets on. Okay, one more question. We need one more. Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Get your questions in. Hope y'all's Tuesday is going well. Really curious to see how this team responds after the bye week. You got a lot of rest. I made a video this morning about it, but you had everybody at practice yesterday except Deontay Johnson because of the suspension. and also Sanusi Kane because of the knee injury. But, man, everybody else you had. So you had Kyle Van Noy back. You had Rashad Bateman back. Rashad Bateman left Sunday's game against the Eagles halfway through. Kyle Van Noy didn't even play in the game against the Eagles. He was inactive because of his hamstring injury. So, it's great to get those guys back, get them back practicing, get this team healthy. Don't know if y'all saw the Justin Tucker locker interview that's going around today. Just looks a little, looks different. Just looks a little shell-shocked, if you ask me. A little shell-shocked. Okay, we've got 1 minute. I'm putting 1 minute on the timer for you to get your questions in, okay? And then we're going straight into the video. So one more question or 1 more minute for your questions to get in there. Bang, we got another one. Who has better? And bang! Good question, Yamel. Good question. And Papa Shock. Good question from you both. Alrighty. Without further ado, I'm not going to hold it back any longer, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get straight into it. A little bit of a mailbag episode right here on Ravens Rundown. Let's get it started. You are watching the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Petersen. Thanks so much for tuning in, for hanging out with us on this fine day. I got to tell you, every single one of these questions has come from our live show we do every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Central. So if you were on that live show, I want you to get in the comment section down below. Give me a real one so I can know who all the real ones were hanging out with me on Tuesday. And if you missed it, again, every single Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Get there, be square. It's a great time. And let's get into the questions that we got from that live show. First one coming in from Michael, saying, do you think the Ravens will win the Super Bowl? Michael, this is a good question. It's hard to answer because, do I think they will and do I think they can are two very different things, okay? Because I think that they can, but also I think it's just kind of hard to say, yeah, they will, because it's such a small percentage to happen. So I'm going to answer the question you asked me. I don't think so. I think that this team is too shaky on special teams. Justin Tucker, namely. I don't trust Justin Tucker to go out there and win us a playoff game at this point. I know he's done it in years past. I know he has the ability to do it, but this is this year, and he hasn't been able to do it this year. I think this defense is turning a new leaf and a new corner, but the defense also scares me still a little bit, okay? And so I don't think they will, just like playing the odds game. But do I think they can? 100%. I would not be surprised in the slightest if they make a run and they win the Super Bowl. Thanks so much for the question, Michael. Really appreciate it. Next one coming in from Spacey K33, asking, who are the best available free agents that the Ravens could sign to help their run to the Super Bowl? Great question, Spacey. Funny, it's going with the last Super Bowl run question. So I got 3 that I'm going to talk about today, okay? Xavier Howard, Jaron Kearse, and Rasheem Green, okay? Let's start with Xavier Howard. I think you helped this team out a lot when you added Tre'Davious White, and I was not high on Tre'Davious White, okay? I didn't think that he would be a great addition. It kind of was one of those that kind of left me wanting more. But, man, he's been great. But I think it could get better from a depth perspective in the cornerback room. And I say the exact same thing for Jaron Kearse and his possible signing, right? I think that our depth could get a hell of a lot better if you add Jaron Kearse to this roster. He's a really good run defender. He tackles soundly, not the greatest in coverage, but I think you could get him at a cheap price, and I think he could give you great depth. Because after our Darius Washington and Kyle Hamilton, when you get to the Marcus Williams of the world, I don't think that's anything any of us want to get to, right? Okay, and then Rasheem Green. We talked about it. We've talked about it ad nauseum of this team kind of struggling getting to the passer. Rasheem Green is a guy who's been able to do that with his pass. Again, you can get him at a cheap price. So these are the three guys I'm looking to. These are the three guys that might, I think, help bolster this roster if they want to make any kind of a Super Bowl run. But you tell me in the comment section down below, who should the Baltimore Ravens sign in free agency? It could be any of those names I listed. It could be a name you're coming up with yourself. Just let me know in the comment section. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break in just a second to make that time go by a little bit faster. Take advantage of it. Go down to the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me your answer. Next one coming in from Phyllis Hutchin. Hashtag Ravens, who should win MVP? Phyllis, this is hard because I was obviously always on Lamar Jackson's side on this. Because, the things he has been doing, the things he is doing still, they're phenomenal. But what we're seeing Saquon Barkley do in Philadelphia, and I hate it because they just beat us, we haven't seen a running back do this in a really long time. I mean, he's threatening Eric Dickerson's record. And I know he's doing it in more games, so you got to factor that into it. But, man, what he is doing this year for them in Philadelphia has been phenomenal. And so I think, honestly, he should win it. If you're going to give it to a quarterback, I hate that Josh Allen is getting a little bit more of a nod over Lamar for the past couple weeks because Lamar's better than him in, every single statistical category except rushing touchdowns and record. And so, if you're going to get it to a quarterback, give it to the one who's better. Okay, I get it. Josh Allen's doing great things. Just this last Sunday, he had 3 touchdowns. He also had 3 passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns. But still, Lamar Jackson's been the better quarterback this year, and it's kind of not even close. We got one coming in from Papa Shook. Hashtag Ravens. Who has the better receiving production moving forward? Wide receiver group or tight end group? Great question, Papa. I think wide receiver group. I will say, though, I've been really, really happy with what Mark Andrews has given you, especially after how he started this season. I mean, it's no shock and no surprise to anybody when I say he started this season pretty horrifically. Was dropping passes, was not getting targets, was just playing bad football, and now he's really brought it together. I say all that to say I still think it's going to be the wide receiver group, though, okay? I think they just got too many weapons. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, I think those guys are going to outproduce Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Okay, they're already outproducing them through the first 13 weeks. First 14 weeks. I don't think it's going to change in these last 4 games and moving forward. Now, I do think Mark Andrews is going to be great. He's going to do great things, but do I think him and Isaiah Likely are going to outproduce anybody or all the guys in the wide receiver group? No, I don't think so. If you want to see any of those guys perform each other, then you should use Game Time to do so. They are the proud sponsor of today's video. They're my favorite ticketing app, the only ticketing app I have in my phone. So head on over to Game Time because they've got the best prices or best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. It's the only place I go when I'm trying to get tickets to any college football or NFL game. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks, and that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which are the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the highest seat value in the venue. If you guys want to head to the Sunday's matchup against the New York Giants, you can use Game Time to do so. They get the prices listed right there. The games listed. You click on the game, you see the stadium overview. You can toggle that Game Time Picks app. It'll filter out, show you only the best seats, best value. Choose your ticket, you see the view from your seat, and then within seconds, you are checking out. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Next question coming in from Twitter Fingers saying, hashtag Ravens, which free agent is the most important after the 2024 season? Great question. I think they've got a lot of guys that are going to be free agents after the season. Okay, Ronnie Stanley, Ardarius Washington, Brandon Stevens, Malik Harrison. They got a lot of guys that are able to get contracts. When you talk about the most important, though, I go to those first two. Ronnie Stanley, Ardarius Washington. Ronnie Stanley had a fantastic year in 2021, got a big contract because of it, and then just has been plagued by injuries the past few years. But he is back, and he is almost better than ever this year. Okay, at that left tackle position, he's been awesome. Been a little bit of a penalty merchant from time to time. We forgive him, though, because he's done great. He's held down that left tackle spot as you could hope any left tackle could. I probably think he's the most important, but a guy I'd put pretty close second is Ardarius Washington. This defense has made a change. It's made a difference over the past 3 weeks. Okay, first 11 weeks, they're the worst in the league. These past 3 weeks, since Ardarius Washington has been moved into that starting spot at safety, you've seen a difference in this team. Okay, and so I think he's a really important guy paired with Kyle Hamilton going forward. But I think Ronnie Stanley is just as, if not even more important than him. So I got the question for you guys. Okay, if you had to pick between those two, who is more important? Is it Ronnie Stanley? Is it Ardarius Washington? You let me know in the comment section down below. Type RS for Ronnie Stanley, AW for Ardarius Washington. Next question coming in from Bay Laver. Will the Ravens be able to make a deep playoff run? Kind of similar to the one I already questioned, or one I already answered, and I'm just going to say, yeah, they will be able to, Bay Laver, okay? Because they've got Lamar Jackson. They've got one of the best offenses in the NFL. They've got Derrick Henry. They've got an offensive line that's playing fine. Obviously, it's not as good as it started, but it's not playing bad football. And their defense is playing better. I think that's the biggest key to it all. If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, will they be able to make a deep playoff run, I would have flat out looked you in the eyes and said, no, the defense is too bad. But what this defense has been able to do through the past few weeks of the season has really made a difference, and I think it will make all the difference when it comes to playoff games. Because how are playoff games won? They're won with quarterbacks playing really, really well, and they're won with defenses making big plays, and I think this defense will be able to make big plays. And I trust Lamar after having all this playoff experience. Now, it's not the greatest playoff experience. Doesn't have a lot of wins to his name. It's still experience. And so I expect this team to be able to make a deep run. Next question coming in from Captain. Is there anyone better to replace John Harbaugh if he gets fired? Well, Captain, I don't want to burst your bubble here if this is something you want to happen. I don't think that John Harbaugh is getting fired, okay? But it's a great question to tack on to it because I think, and I myself am guilty of this, I talk about John Harbaugh getting fired all the time, right? You guys talk about John Harbaugh getting fired all the time. But I think one thing we do is we talk about it, but we fail to ask ourselves, okay, then who are you bringing in? Because you can't just fire somebody and be like, okay, all the problems are solved. You have to bring somebody in to fix those problems that were there in the first place. So if you fire John Harbaugh, do you believe someone is able to be brought in that is an improvement over him? I don't know. Maybe Ben Johnson, but he seems like a shoo-in to get the Bears job. And we can argue about that all day. I think the Ravens job is better than the Bears job, but he wanted the Bears job last year, and they didn't fire Matt Eberflus. A guy I look to is Aaron Glenn. He's been having a lot of success with that Detroit defense under Dan Campbell. He seems like a guy to me that can just be a leader of men. But if it's not those two guys, and I don't know if there's anybody I'd be confident enough to roll the dice on. And I know people are going to say Todd Monken. I don't know if I'd be confident in Todd Monken either, okay? Because you need somebody who, in my opinion, can lead men, can bring men together. And you talk to him and you say, I want to go run through a brick wall for that guy. Is there anybody available like that that's also got the X's and O's? I don't know. Maybe Mike Vrabel. Actually, that's another guy. I think Mike Vrabel would be a step up over a guy like John Harbaugh. So that's probably my number one if they fire John Harbaugh. But at the end of the day, Captain, I don't think it's going to happen. Last question of today's episode is from Papa Shook. Who has the better receiver? Oh, wait, excuse me. That was Papa Shook's question from earlier. This one. Who is the most impressive college football playoff team? Papa Shook, great question. I'm a big college football fan myself. I know you guys hear me talk about my Tennessee Volunteers from time to time. I'm not going to say them, though, okay, because they've had some bad losses. I'm not that biased. I am biased, not that biased. I will say the most impressive team, like, it has to be the Ducks, right? I mean, they're the only team that went without a loss. They have a really good win at home against the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're the only team that is they're the only perfect team in the country. Now, are they perfect, meaning they don't have flaws? No. Every team has flaws. But they've played the most perfect football throughout this 2024 college football season, okay? I think they're the most impressive to me, what they can do defensively, the weapons they have in their offense with guys like Tez Walker, who they got a quarterback with Dylan Gabriel. Their offensive line is really sound. They can get to the quarterback better than almost any other team in the country. I love who they got at head coach with Dan Lanning, and so I'd say they're the most impressive. Now, they did get a tough draw in the college football playoff, having to play the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee. Even though they got the bye, that's a tough draw. So, we'll see how it all shakes out. It's going to be exciting. I'll be there watching every single game of it. Again, massive college football fan myself, but I would say Oregon has been the most impressive team. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's show, everybody. This has been our mailbag. Again, we are live every single Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've never made it before, make an appointment viewing, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Alrighty, that was today's show. Deshaun, great question. Obviously you didn't get it in time for me to get it on the episode, but I'll go ahead and answer it for you right here. With the offensive groups you have, will you build it from the draft or free agency? I think from the draft, just because the position of the Ravens cap space. They don't have a lot of cap space. So I think they'll use the money they do have to re-sign Ronnie Stanley, and I think they're going to build from the draft for the offensive line. That's my thoughts. I don't know. You guys let me know how you guys feel. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I love getting able to do these live shows. Just talked to the bosses a couple weeks ago, and we got our other channels, our bigger channels. They go live every single week as well. I was like, you know what? I want to do a live show. They seem so much fun. I've produced a ton of them, and because of you guys' support, because you guys love this channel, love this team, I'm able to do it as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be live again next week, this exact same time. So we'll see you later on the channel. I'll put up a video, put up another video for you guys tomorrow morning. So check those out, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And we'll see you guys later on today.